Hello and welcome. The market for engineering services is growing, and so is the opportunity to create engineered or re-engineered products for the Indian market. Let's understand this and the larger scope for engineering services a little better with Manu Parpia, Head of Geometric Services. Manu, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Govindraj.
So tell us, there seems to be a growing market for engineered or re-engineered products from other parts of the world into India.
Yeah. Yes, indeed there is, and companies are keen obviously to jumpstart into the Indian market, and they don't want to recreate from scratch. So companies do come and say, let us take our existing product and re-engineer it for Indian conditions, which might mean cost, performance, because in India we need not want, in Indian market may not need all the features that are prevalent, like an air-conditioned cab in a tractor, maybe a larger tractor may be redundant in the Indian context vis-a-vis the cost. So then you have to re-engineer the whole product. So companies are coming and asking, and they do ask even engineering service providers if they would be interested in doing certain jobs. But then unlike a typical in the past where you provided raw engineering services, you have to then step back and actually look at the existing product, arrive at costs, then re-engineer it, arrive at the new cost, because you have a cost target. It must meet the on the other hand quality and longevity standards and so on, and then even go to so far as to do even plant layout or perhaps even make prototype, which is a very different turnkey requirement and places a very different stress on project management than in the
So
past.
a philosophical question, should you be re-engineering or should you be engineering from scratch when it comes to the Indian market?
I think that it makes sense to re-engineer. Why? Because you save something of the cost. I mean, if you look at, even if you take a thing like airlines, aircraft, Boeing has taken the 737, which is a 1960 something like design, and they have extended it right through 2020. You know, it's different. There are many things different, but fundamentally it's the same concept, the same thing, and is giving value for money to the customers. So the reason for doing that is re-engineering and creating from scratch is a very costly exercise and a higher risk exercise.
Right. And you're saying this from experience with some of the products.
Yeah,
that you
and you can see other people, you take 787, brand new aircraft, very revolutionary concept, but look at the risks, you know, battery failure and other problems that they have faced. So these are the risks that, you know, when you take a quantum jump, which of course is required from time to time, and kudos to them. But you know, this is the risk. So you need to weigh the two and the time. If you look at the time duration, it's 2 years or 3 years behind expected.
So what are the areas that you see such opportunities, and where do you feel companies like yours could?
Actually, you see them in every product, you know, but so it depends on your specialization. So whether it is an appliance, in appliance you'd have issues like electricity, the supply, the frequency difference, and so on and so forth. So, and the ruggedness, the way a user would look at it, even a simple thing like a blender or a grinder, the way Indian kitchen operates is different from a Western kitchen. Even someone was giving an example of the rice cooker. The Chinese eat rice with chopsticks, Indians eat with hands. So the finished product, when you finish cooking, has a different texture because it's required in a different way. So, you know, the re-engineering opportunity is limitless, and companies like ours look at our area of specialization, which may be in industrial or something, industrial equipment and so on, where we could contribute. In other companies will do something else.
Right. Where's the larger market growth coming from for companies like you and for the industry in general?
See, in terms of engineering. So the larger growth is coming from companies who seek to, on one hand, support global development. So in the past, you know, the development was done in one place, but now it has to be re-engineered, or it has to be designed more specifically, or sometimes even led based on a design, but led from the local market. So there's an increasing demand to do engineering in a local setup. So therefore you see an increase in demand for that, you know. And I see companies like ours getting opportunities from this. Others, of course, are centers where people are just looking at cost cutting, or they want to reduce their costs, so they transfer some of the work to a different center. So there's a combination of factors at work, but increasingly is led by talent and the market as against cost.
Right. Now, can you link this to the future of engineering? I mean, and how this is an opportunity for India or for companies who are doing this kind of work?
Well, the future of engineering is
bright, I guess.
Yeah, no, the future of engineering is that you will need more and more of it.
Yeah.
Okay, because
in India specifically, yeah.
But in India specifically, because of the fact that the market is growing, and India has proximity and has similar conditions to other markets. Okay, so a product engineered in India can be relevant to Africa and South America. So and competency and talent is available. So I see that engineering, the future for engineering in India is reasonably good. You know.
And how do you see the opportunity or the growth for engineering services that are being delivered from India?
So engineering services delivered from India is very good. Question is whether engineering service providers will get more of it, or will captive centers get more of it. So this is a open question. I think that the future.
What's the status if you were to do a status check?
I believe status check is that engineering captive centers are dominant. They constitute 60 or more than 60% of the engineering service export from India.
Right. And how do you see it going? I mean, are you seeing people like you scale up further to?
I think the jury is still out. Obviously, we believe that we can add a lot of value, but then there are issues of, you know, intellectual property and so on, and a seamless integration. So I see that if there is opportunity, it will be again for select companies. So a company will not tend to give work out to 5-7 companies. If they're really going to do a close collaboration, they'd work with 1 or 2 and work deeply with them, as against because you have to absorb the process. See, engineering service is not just about executing the work, but understanding the process and integrating into the process. So that is perhaps far more important than the work itself. You know, I mean, the work itself is more commodity like. The process knowledge is where the secret lies, and therefore the ability to improve the process and continuously eliminate waste, that is a secret.
Right. So how do you see Geometric, for instance, going into new areas within engineering services?
Sure, because I mentioned right at the beginning that how customers are asking you to take more responsibility. So that is new. It's something that we can, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we had to say, no, we will not do this turnkey. Not that we had the opportunities, because now people are asking. But now we have to, if we want to retain the customer and we want to grow, and plus it's a bigger opportunity. It's a greater challenge to our people, for our talent. So I'd say that that's how I see the opportunities for Geometric to grow.
Right. So we started by talking about the engineering and re-engineering opportunity for products aimed at India, and you also said that how there are new opportunities from a turnkey point of view facing outwards. Is there a missing link between these two and, let's say, the larger opportunity for talent and companies sitting in India?
So the missing link, I don't know, but I'd say the missing link today is in terms of the talent, I would say preparedness to be productive. So I think most companies find that there is a long cycle. So while you're an engineer when you graduate from college, your ability to understand the process, because as I was telling you that the secret lies in the process. So knowing the equations of mathematics and the slide rule or the calculations is one thing, but the real thing is knowing the process. And many of our engineers, it's sad to say, couldn't change a tire. You know, so if you are not willing to understand the nuts and bolts of how things are put together in mechanical part, then see, in the software it's okay, you know, it's more okay. You then still create software which users may not find friendly, But in mechanical engineering, you really need, the secret lies in understanding the steps that you take to assemble something and so on and so forth. Then you can be really more productive.
And that's a useful input, I would imagine, for any youngster who wants to join this
I
industry
think so.
or geometric for that matter.
Yes, and actually it's a useful input for us also, that we need to train people in a mechanical way if we want them to do mechanical engineering, not just the theory of mechanical, but actually practical.
Manu, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you, Govindraj.
Thank you.